$4,730. That's how much it cost me to retrieve my disabled son's van after the HOA had it towed illegally, from our own driveway. I still remember the hiss of the tow truck's brakes. It was 6:14 a.m. when I looked out the window and saw the rollback backing into our cul-de-sac like a predator stalking prey. My son's van, a wheelchair-accessible Dodge with a ramp and medical decals, was hooked and gone before I could even lace my sneakers. I screamed. Literally screamed into the dawn. But this wasn't the beginning. That was just the ambush. The real war started months earlier. My name's Rachel Morales. I'm a single mom, an ICU nurse, and for the past year, a reluctant legal scholar in HOA warfare. We moved into Sunny Glen Estates because it was quiet, flat, and close to my son's therapy center. I bought the house after 10 years of double shifts, cutting coupons, and sleeping in my car on breaks. I thought we'd made it. First red flag. A letter. Your vehicle does not comply with HOA visual harmony standards. I thought it was junk mail. But it wasn't. They fined me $150 for the van being commercial looking. I appealed. Sent photos. Medical documents. Even a note from our pediatric neurologist. 3 days later, I got another citation, this time $300. For the protruding ramp. They called it unsightly mechanical equipment. Who talks like that? Monsters in khakis, that's who. I tried to speak at the next board meeting, but I never made it past the gate. Literally. The security guard said the meeting was closed to non-compliant homeowners. That's when the neighborhood changed. People I'd smiled at for years suddenly avoided eye contact. One neighbor, Mr. Lenton, crossed the street just to not walk past me. Then I found the flyer. Folded and stuffed into my mailbox with no return address. Headline: Protect Sunny Glen from property value parasites. My son's van, blurred but recognizable, was pictured right underneath. Knowledge nugget number 1, HOAs cannot legally distribute materials that target specific homeowners by name or image. It's considered harassment under fair housing laws. I wasn't just a mom anymore. I was the scapegoat for their property value panic. I began to document everything. Screenshots. Videos. Dates. Times. And that's when I found it. A name I didn't recognize on HOA documents filed with the county, Mark Renley. Not a board member. Not a resident. A consultant from a property management firm 3 towns over. I dug deeper. Renley wasn't just consulting. He was running the show, emailing the board with instructions, pre-writing citation letters, even suggesting fee amounts. And guess who his sister worked for? The towing company that snatched my son's van. It was bigger than HOA ego. It was a racket. Then things turned federal. I filed a complaint with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and a week later, a woman named Marcia called me. She was from a nonprofit called Access First, a national disability rights watchdog group. And get this, she had just wrapped a case against the same HOA in another district. They'd been quietly pressuring families with medical vehicles, ramps, even oxygen tanks, calling them neighborhood pollutants. Together, we drafted a cease and desist. And then we found something even more explosive. Knowledge nugget number 2, under the Fair Housing Act, any HOA policy that disproportionately impacts people with disabilities is automatically subject to federal scrutiny, even if it's neutrally written. We requested the HOA's financial records through a public filing. They delayed. Stonewalled. Then someone slipped an envelope under my door. No return address. Inside, a printout. An off-the-books beautification budget. Guess what was listed? Line 7, Vehicle Relocation Services, $9,000. They had secretly allocated funds to tow unsightly vehicles. Mine was just the first. If you're watching this, screenshot that clause and tag someone who needs HOA armor. Don't wait till it's your driveway. So we hit back. Hard. Access first partnered with a federal attorney who specialized in disability discrimination cases. We filed an injunction and demanded emergency protections. Neighbors who once ignored me began reaching out. Turns out, I wasn't the only target. A veteran down the street had received a citation for his ramp. A retiree with a service dog was threatened with a daily fine for excessive animal noise. We started a coalition. 30 homeowners. 2 petitions. 1 lawsuit. I started driving my son to school again, with a body cam clipped to my mirror. We printed signs. HOA is not above federal law. Disabled lives are not a nuisance. Then came the hearing. The courtroom was packed. Renly sat at the far end, smirking like a man who thought he'd already won. But he didn't count on Marcia. She brought out the financials. The secret budget. The pattern of discrimination. And then, the kicker. She called their own tow truck driver to the stand. He admitted, under oath, that Renly's sister had ordered the van removal and had told him to be fast. She's litigious. Knowledge nugget number 3. If a vehicle is used for disability transport and legally registered, it's federally protected from removal, even by an HOA. The judge didn't just rule in our favor. He sanctioned the board. Fines. Mandated training. And a court order to revise every policy within 90 days. They tried to blame Renly. He vanished. But not before leaving behind one final surprise. A key. Left in our HOA Dropbox. No tag, no note. When I brought it to the sheriff's office, they discovered it unlocked a storage locker 2 towns over. Inside, stacks of HOA documents, older than mine. Photos. Names. More families. Some who'd moved. Some who'd gone quiet. This wasn't a one-off. It was a blueprint. But we didn't stop at court. With our coalition's help, and a GoFundMe that went viral, we launched a local grant program, the Morales Mobility Fund. It now helps families with disabled children install ramps, purchase accessible vans, and fight back. Sunny Glen looks different now. New board. Transparency rules. Even a community garden. My son. He painted the new HOA mailbox mural. Wheelchair and all. But there's something that still haunts me. Last week, I got a voicemail from a number I didn't recognize. The voice was muffled, robotic. Just 4 words. You found the key. Next week, the city that tried to steal a solar farm. You're not going to believe who was behind that.